What's up everybody, it's Sean here and I'm back today to give you a review of the Kith and Asics collaboration on the Gel-Nunobiki in this Delicioso and Pure Silver colorway. So this shoe was part of an Asics and Kith 6-shoe collaboration which released just in time for the beginning of summer. So this vintage tech pack consisted of models like the Gel-Kayano 12.1, like the Peat and Cream colorway. That shoe I also reviewed on my channel not too long ago. So this is another shoe from that pack, and this was the second of the two pairs I picked up, this one being the Gel-Nunobiki, and this marks the very first pair of this silhouette that I've ever picked up. So the name of this shoe, this is said to draw inspiration from Nunobiki Falls Trail in Kobe, Japan. And Kobe, Japan, for those who aren't aware, is where Asics is actually headquartered in. And from a design standpoint, this model draws inspiration from past Asics models like the Gel-Kayano 3 and the Gel Target, whereas the bottom tooling or the midsole-outsole combination, this has been seen previously in the Asics Gel Venture series. So these drop for a retail price of $120 US or $170 here in Canada, which makes it reasonably affordable as far as a limited collaborative shoe goes. And not only was I interested to try out a brand new silhouette, but I was also drawn to this colorway because it really reminds me of the New Balance 991 V2, the Danielle Cathari collaboration that Kith put out in very limited numbers. So the similarities are obvious with this being a similar tone of green and brown. So jumping into the details of the shoe itself, the base layer of the shoe is crafted out of a brown colored open style mesh. Surrounding the front toe cap, we have a shiny synthetic green colored leather, and it has a silver colored detailing all throughout. The same synthetic leather covers the eyelets of the shoe, but then the middle two eyelets, these are looped through the Asics stripe, which covers the entire mid panel of the sneaker. This is reflective as well, and is done in a mix of brown, green, and silver on the edges. The top three eyelets are covered in more synthetic green leather, and it also has silver colored detailing on it. And then moving downwards, we have more of that open style brown mesh. And then on the lateral side only, we have Asics branding. This is also done in silver. Covering the bottom of the heel, we have this TPU layer, which is done in more of a matte gray color. In the middle, we have Asics branding in silver and white. We have a green woven pull tab on the top of the heel. And then underneath this, we have this brown colored nylon. As far as the laces go, so this pair comes with two different lace options. The standard lace that they come with are these chunky rope style laces in brown, but they also come with a slightly thinner off-white colored lace if you want to give the shoe a little bit more contrast. Personally, I like the look of the off-white colored laces, but I wish they were a little bit thicker or chunkier to match the thickness of the stock laces. Anyways, underneath this, the tongue is crafted out of that open style brown mesh. However, on the top, we have this reflective 3M layer, and here you'll find Asics branding as well. The back of the tongue and the interior of the shoe, this is covered in a gray colored mesh. And the collar of the shoe is pretty thinly padded, which gives the shoe more of a sleek and slim feel when you're wearing them on foot. Inside here for the insole, these come with your typical foam-lined insole. We have this plaid pattern on top with Asics and Kith branding pressed onto the heel. So the upper of the shoe, like I mentioned before, this is a midsole we've seen before on the Asics Gel Venture series. So this is an off-white colored midsole, which I assume is some sort of EVA foam. We do have gel technology, which sits both underneath the forefoot as well as underneath the heel, and this helps with impact protection and shock absorption. And then for the bottom of the shoe, the outsole here is a little bit more rugged, with this being a bit of a trail-inspired sneaker. So you can see the traction pattern here is quite aggressive. We have these V's that are all throughout from heel to toe. And then in the middle, instead of a carbon fiber or TPU shank plate, we just have this rubber layer which kind of wraps up and onto the midsole a little bit, and this provides some level of midfoot support. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this pair. And for those wondering about how these fit, so again, I had no idea how this model would fit me, so I just rolled the dice and got these in my true size. So in my case, I'm a true size 10, slightly on the wider side, meaning I wear a size 10 in models like the Gel-Kayano 14, the GT2160, the Gel-1130. So getting these in my true size, I feel like they run a little bit long lengthwise. So wearing these with normal socks, there was just over a thumb's width space between the top of the shoe and the top of my toe. That to me, I find is a little bit roomy. I usually prefer more like an index finger's width space instead of a thumb. So while the length was a little bit roomy, I found that the toe box was also a little bit narrow too. It wasn't to the point where it was uncomfortable, but I could kind of feel the materials around the toe box area kind of rubbing against my toe. So I suspect if I was to wear these for many hours, either A, they would ideally break in a little bit, but more likely B, I'd probably feel some level of discomfort with the material kind of chafing against my toe. So I feel like if you have a narrow or normal width foot, I kind of hesitate to recommend this, but I'd probably recommend you try on a half size down just to see how the length would be. Again, because going true to size, there was over a thumb's width space at the edge. But if in doubt, go true to size. I feel like if you tighten up the laces, the length won't be a problem anymore. And if you have like a really wide foot, I don't really think this is a model for you because they run a little bit long and a little bit narrow. Moving on to the comfort, so these feel decent on foot. There's nothing super amazing about this. They're definitely not as comfortable as models like the Gel-Kayano 14, but that's not to say that these are uncomfortable. Overall, I feel like this midsole feels a little bit thinner. It gives me a little bit more ground feel, but there is some level of responsiveness, and I can feel a little bit of that bounce back right under my forefoot. But I didn't really feel the support on the shoe was outstanding, and the step-in comfort also wasn't amazing, but it's not exceptional from a comfort standpoint. Finally, in terms of the quality and the craftsmanship, so unfortunately this shoe is all made out of synthetic materials. So we have synthetic leathers, meshes, reflective panels. So there's nothing about this that screams elevated or premium materials. That's fine though. Considering the price point, it's very reasonable, 120 USD or 170 Canadian. You're kind of getting what you pay for. The build of the shoe I thought was fine though. I thought the stitch job was good. The panels were consistent and they were symmetrical between my left and right feet. So that's really all you can ask for a shoe like this. So with all that out of the way now, let's toss these on feet. I'll lace them up and I'll show you guys how these look. All in all, this is a very beautiful colorway, and I think from a pure color standpoint, this one was probably my favorite of the 6 pairs in this Kith and Asics collection. But from a silhouette standpoint, it's not my favorite. It's not bad, but it's not one that I can see myself gravitating towards considering I have so many Asics shoes in my collection. I wish the fit would have fit my feet a little bit better. Again, my feet were maybe just a little bit too wide for this shoe. And while they were decently comfortable, it wasn't anything too special. Still, I think the colorway in itself could be a reason for many people to want to add these to their collection. I don't fault you whatsoever. I just think this is a shoe that would probably be a nice to have, but not really something that I would have to keep in my collection. So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think about this Gel-Nunobiki in this Delicioso and pure silver color? What are your thoughts on this? Did you also pick these up? If you have them in hand, how do you feel about them now that you can see them in person? If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on my social media accounts. I'll link all that down below. And as always, thank you for your continued love and support, and I'll catch everybody in my next video.